Hey, I'm Maya. Welcome to my channel. It's early in the morning. My voice is very croaky. My nose is runny because I've just hiked up this hill and I'm really hot. And this is my home. It feels inappropriate to speak, but that's why I came here, so I shall. I'm going to start with a quote, and it's Wittgenstein. You cannot enter any world for which you do not have the language. So I read that quote at the beginning of the week, and then a book arrived that I'd ordered a few days before, and it's David Whyte, Essentials. He's a poet who speaks my language like nothing I've ever read before. And this book provided me the language I needed to enter a different world. And my dreams changed. And I think I can talk about something that I've tried to talk about a lot over the course of my channel. I've touched on and revisited in long since deleted videos, but I shall do my best to revisit what I couldn't quite connect with. I think that poetry is really the most accurate, the most appropriate language to describe reality and our relationship to it. So I think I should be reading more. Okay, so when I look back, I see threads interwoven into the fabric of my life. Disassociation from my body. Surprise that this thing, this object, and all its bodily functions was actually me. And I felt very disconnected from my body from a very young age, and kind of disgusted at times that this thing, this smelly thing that needs to eat and defecate and just felt surprised that this was me. And so that feeling of disassociation persisted all my life really, until transition. And another thread was this desperate feeling of loneliness and isolation that at the worst of times became a silent cry of anguish that felt the only thing real to me, and within which I dissolved into nothingness many times in my life. So when I transitioned, I felt condensed, and this form became a good place to be. It became somewhere more comfortable, safer, and it felt like home. And I think that is because, as a man, being a woman, connecting with femininity and sort of expressing myself through that, there is a unity, there is a sense of wholeness, a balance between masculine and feminine, man and woman. And the fear of my childhood just evaporated for a time, and that feeling of disconnection and isolation eased greatly, because I had created this self-contained little universe where I could be whole. But over time, that wholeness, a false wholeness, became a kind of prison, really. A prison of attachment to form and sensation and desire. And I felt confined and restricted within this body. And I yearned to escape it. So over the last year on my channel, I've kind of revisited that. And up until the point, maybe 3 weeks ago, when I took the channel down and deleted everything, I had yo-yoed back and forth between holding on just a bit more tightly to my transness and the safety and comfort there, and this longing to escape into liberation from attachment. And I yo-yoed several times, and talking to other trans women really sort of made me feel it was okay to be attached, and then I just felt more stifled. So up until a couple of weeks before I took the channel down, I was consumed with the thought of detransition, and each morning I would wake and the first thought on my mind would be escape, further detachment and detransition, and it would consume my thoughts all day until I eventually found sleep, and it would be the last thing on my mind. But this week, reading this book, which I shall treasure for the rest of my life, I found a deeper understanding that the wholeness I sought and the salve for the fear and isolation of my childhood, that solitude I carried within me, that cannot be found here, cannot be found in here or here. Wholeness is not found in this world that is symbolic of something behind it, before it, something more real than the material, and that is spirit. And wholeness is found in surrender to the source from which I came, that which gifted me life and gifted me will and the ability to choose to return to it. That greater intelligence, that loving presence that awaits our return. There is found wholeness, in the acknowledgement of the gift of my life and my will, and the turning outward of my attention towards spirit. And there is wholeness. There is liberation from that isolation that sat within me like a black hole that I filled, seeking satisfaction. But you cannot find that in the world of forms. So, living in places like this, and far wilder than this over the last 10 years. So, you become quiet inside. And when attention is turned outwards, you can hear the whispering voice of that intelligence that speaks to you in your dreams, in the movement of the wind, in your relationships, in each footstep. synchronicities and meaning is replete in that relationship. So you cannot touch it beyond touching this world. You cannot measure it or weigh it, but you can know it. An inner knowing, a faith, a trust in your own knowing. There is nothing more certain than that. So for someone such as myself that is an outlier, and I've lived my life on the edges and the fringes and the subcultures of culture, and I don't have a safety net. I don't have a boss or an employer or a superior to which I can complain when things go wrong. I have no pension. I have no job. Only myself. And I think perhaps for people such as me, surrender comes as a relief. But still, we need evidence before we are willing to surrender. And that evidence is not empirical. It's not scientific. But it is experiential. And perhaps people like me trust ourselves because we have only ourselves. So I trust what I know, what I experience. I trust that that is true. And I feel no doubt at all. And I feel no fear in surrender. So, what does that mean for me now? 25 years living as a woman. Most of my adult life, you don't count my 20s and my teen years of chaos and destruction. Do I need to detransition to align more truthfully with what I am as a male? Because in essence I am unchanged. Just moved the flesh around and cut it and stitched it and forced my body to repair in the desired fashion. Does it matter? Does it matter? I don't think I can change. Beyond removing my breast implants, which I plan to do anyway, which I think will be a huge thing. I put more thought into that than I did about removing my genitals when I was male, fully male. But I think it's important to let go, because there is no such thing as a partial surrender. To remain attached to materiality and the superficial nature of our form is to choose to suffer. It's to choose to suffer. So we shall see what happens next. David White, Essentials. Get this book. Hopefully it will speak to you like it spoke to me. Okay. I'll see you in the next video. Bye.